Welcome back to episode 2 of I'm Working on My Roar. If you've watched episode 1, I have started a new series. This is with regard to me rebuilding self confidence. I am just a few weeks shy of 48 and discovering one of the greatest lessons for myself is that I have need of self confidence. With that said, I want to share with you something that I heard a few weeks ago. It was actually on Club Shay Shay's podcast. He was interviewing Damon Wayans. There was a portion in this interview that was very important. Damon Wayans was talking about his discovery of having diabetes and what he had to do, or what he decided to do, rather, to keep him from needing to be dependent on medicine. What he discovered is it wasn't just working out in general. So he started walking, but then he figured out that it was the weights, lifting weights, and in particular, working with weights on his legs helped him to be able to not be dependent on medicine. And Shannon Sharp had said that if you want to build muscle, that you need to add stress. And a light bulb went off for me because I am rebuilding. And what I have understood is this process of me rebuilding and discovering with self confidence. These things are happening for me under stressful situations. So I want to share something that happened actually this weekend within my family. If you know, I'm pretty transparent. And the best way for me to tell you my experience is to literally tell you my actual experience. So this weekend, my family, we spent a lot of time together. Saturday, we went to breakfast. We always have a good time when we're together. Went to breakfast and then went about our day. And then Sunday, we had went to church, and then after church, we decided to go to the movies. The movie was a good movie. At the end of the movie, I had got a text on my phone because I keep up with everything with my daughter's school. The text let me know that she had an AP test coming up the next day. So I look at my daughter and I say, "Hey, your AP test is tomorrow at 7:30." In that tone, she responded to me in this brass tone. Yes, I was taken aback. Even though she just said yes, it was the tone, it was the intent behind the tone that kind of threw me. And I'm gonna be honest, my initial response was snatch her up. I'm gonna be honest. That was my initial thought, was like, give her that work right here, because she you cutting the fool right here. You just got treated to the movies, and this is your response to me? Whoa. And so I was wrestling internally with, how do I respond to this? And I look at her and I say, you should watch how you respond to me, because you don't know how you would feel if I give that back to you. You may not be prepared for how that will be. And I left it right there. That doesn't mean that it was resolved, but I left it there in that moment. I needed to leave it there. So we go home, everybody's talking about the movie, right? And I'm sitting in the front seat and I am wrestling with how this makes me feel. What do I do? How do I respond? I want to respond right. There's so many thoughts going on in my head. We come home, everybody, goes to their respective areas where they want to unwind or wherever they want to do. And I call for her because my husband asked me, he's like, is everything okay? Because I was quiet and we just saw a great movie. That's not like me not to, want to unpack the movie, but I was very quiet. So I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Then I called her, right? Call her in, and he doesn't know what I'm about to say or even what happened because I didn't tell him. He was sitting on the other side. He didn't even know. So, I then began to let her know, or I asked her, if she thought that that response um, was it disrespectful? Was it correct? And she was like, I didn't think it was disrespectful. Well, all right. So then I tell her, it was, it was. And I don't want to be spoken to in that way from anybody. So things got worse before they got better. But I'm sharing that with you to say this. In the conversation, she was overwhelmed and it had expressed she was overwhelmed because she has a full schedule. She works. She takes basically all AP courses. She has lots of goals that she's actively pursuing. And she's like, hey, it's a lot on my plate. I'm doing a lot. So, we're having a dialogue. We're having conversations. I'm like, do you need to change some things that's on your plate? Let me help you. Let's rearrange. Let's work on it. But she's still like very upset, right? At me. And I'm like, but I'm the one that's being calm. I'm not like angry. I'm not frustrated. I didn't understand why I was getting this back, right? And then she didn't understand why I felt that way. So she still gets even more upset, more frustrated. The next thing you know, she says to me after, we talk, she said something else, but it was rough. And then my husband was like, whoa, wait a minute. Hold on. No, we not going to talk. We not going to be disrespectful. You got to watch yourself, right? Got to watch your tone. You're talking to your mother here. And he was calm, but I could see that it hurt him to see the direction that this conversation was going in. And it was unmerited. She still didn't understand. So he took a moment, right? He like, hold on, I need I need a moment here. But I did not want to end the conversation there. It needed resolution because I did not want to quit, because I did not want to walk away. You know, she then says to me, hey, mom, I don't understand why this is a problem for you. I have witnessed several people talk to you in this way. She mentioned the people that she's seen and heard talk to me in a aggressive and, rough manner. That was hurtful for me to hear, but I had to digest it. I had to listen. I needed to hear this. And when she said that, it gave me an opportunity to let her know. I understand that you may have witnessed this before. I've been in a lot of verbally abusive situations, sometimes physical. And it saddens my heart that my children have witnessed this, have experienced this. But I also understand that the Lord left all of us here for a reason. And it's important for me to rebuild. But what am I rebuilding on? Well, I'm rebuilding on the truth. And the truth required me to acknowledge that this did in fact happen. Yes, you have heard people speak to me in a certain way. Yes, I did allow it to happen in times past, but I also had to take the opportunity to educate her about who I am currently. I said, I know who I am now. I'm not that person from before. No one is ever going to speak to me in this manner and it not be addressed. I won't just willingly take these things, take this abusive behavior, because I'm not deserving of this type of treatment. I know this now. So I apologize that you experience these things, but you also need to know it ain't happening currently and it won't happen in the future. And so every time I get the opportunity to address a thing, to rebuild my confidence, to rebuild the way that I am treated and perceived, I'm doing it. Right? And it's unfortunate that this type of conversation had to happen with my child, but my child needed to know this, and I need to help, which is what I told her. Every time something like this arises, I'm taking the opportunity to also teach my children because we came through an abusive time in our lives together. They need to also understand that when something doesn't serve you, when relationships are not mutual, when they're not respectful, right? When you are not valued by others as well as yourself, that it is okay to correct that you should, in fact, rearrange and find resolution with you first. The conversation ended well. We ended up laughing and loving on one another, and she has a better understanding of respect of who her mother is, of who she is not anymore. So I want to tell you that sometimes, in fact, when you are under stress, don't negate it, don't put it away, but take the opportunity to build your muscle, to in fact build your strength. You may, in fact, be in strength training. And this is me actively working on my roar. So I'm not defeated. I am before you victorious. A loving mother, a loving wife, a loving woman, able to have confrontation, conflict resolution, and to end with peace, with me first, and then with those abroad. Do not avoid what you need to rebuild. And when you start your rebuilding process, do it on the truth. Y'all have a great day. Bye.